Yep. The hard way though, I'll be honest. Like I didn't do it right. I if I were going to do it now, knowing what I know now, I would do it differently. And yet, it's just, that's how isn't that what we do? We just,
Yeah.
as you're building, you're going to, like, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes tomorrow, right? Like whatever. I'm not afraid of that. I just know we are not going to do anything we can't fix pretty quickly. But it's been a challenge to build a business that isn't driven by me, like, running around selling houses. It's not easy, and it's incredibly rewarding. It makes this business far more fun for me today. I get way more out of it when my agents are kicking ass and taking names than like the house I sold last month. Like I just went, oh, cool. Like I sold that. Whew, didn't have to deal with it a long time. Right, listing, right, boom, it's sold. But when my people are kicking ass like that, dude, that's a rush. That's a rush.
That's pretty awesome. So,
Yeah.
that's cool. I think a lot of people like their business grows, but it's because their personal output grows. And some of them it's because that's what they want. But
Right.
I know for a fact, for a lot of agents, that's not what they want. It's because it's literally a different business when you go from taking all the listings and working with the buyers to not, and still seeing the business grow overall.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's a whole different, mind. It's literally going from real estate salesperson to a business owner, entrepreneur. Like you're literally going, what I didn't know as I did it. Maybe I did subconsciously, maybe I didn't, I don't know. But I did basically when I went from, I'm a real estate sales dude, and I was one of the top people in my marketplace. Like I'm a pretty good real estate agent. But when I made that move, you literally go back almost to startup stage if you're gonna make that transition. And there's some, if you have that awareness about it, you just treat some things differently, you do some things differently. It is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, let's get into the nitty gritty of this. Like,
Okay.
it's pandemic, buddy.
Yep. Yep.
You've doubled your business this year,
Yep.
effectively. I know it's not quite, the year's not over yet. We still have a few months to go. We're recording this on August 7th. It'll be out.
Yep.
This will be out next week. But you're well on your way. You've at a
Yep.
minimum already going to have your best year so far.
Yep.
Like how does that happen when you've been so limited? Like you guys are you like, are you having more meetings with your agents? Are you standing on top of them more? Are you got them all to come to the office more? What's going on?
Well, no, we don't come to the office. So back on about March 15th, I don't know the exact date, but it was 15th, 16th, something like that. The pandemic was getting weird, right? It was getting bad. You could tell like this was every day it was getting more serious and a little more scary for everyone. And on that day, I just said to the team, I said, hey, as of today, let's everybody work from home for a week or two. That's what I said back then. I said, for a week or two, let's just, see how this plays out. So, we already ran a very technology powered business. We were very, very digital, if you will, or whatever. Like, so it wasn't foreign to us, but we had a business where I don't want to say I expected, but because we're not so structured where if like you were on our team and you didn't show up by 9 o'clock, I wasn't yelling at you, but we believe that to be successful, you went to work every day. We worked in an office. We have a team office. And so on that day, I said, everybody stay home. Let's just work from home. We're good with it. We'll go with it as we need to. And then, so that was like I feel like on a Thursday. And then on the following Sunday, our governor basically invokes a shutdown on the state. Hey, it's stay at home. Like everything needs to close. It happen in a lot of places. It's not unique to us. And at that moment on that Sunday, I can remember very clearly, I was pissed. I was pissed because I'm like we can't do real estate. Like we were at that moment on that day, it seemed pretty clear there was you weren't going to be out showing houses. We weren't going to be able to do that. And like, I remember I was like, what are we going to do? Like, our expenses aren't massive, but like we have office and rent and stuff. And I'm like, what's going to happen? The next day they came out with some guidelines that said we could still do real estate. You can show, we were deemed essential. Right. And so I just knew in my head, that we were going to have to continue to be safe first and foremost. My team
Right.
heard me say that a whole hell of a lot, right? Like, be safe. I don't want you guys out doing anything you shouldn't do. You aren't comfortable doing, right? And what we realized was people like still wanted to buy and sell real estate. And so we just, modified our, actually, I don't even think we were wearing masks back then because it wasn't even a thing yet. They hadn't even told us masks would
I think they had told us
help,
they were,
right?
at that point, they told us they were bad.
Yeah, right. So we weren't even doing that. But by the way, God bless them all. Fingers crossed, like all of our team has stayed healthy through all this because I think we have been very careful. But we just kept going. And so, we just started, instead of our team meeting in the office every week, we just started doing a Zoom call. We hadn't really used Zoom. I hadn't used Zoom. We used it, a little bit here and there, but not a ton. So we just, actually went in to Zoom, create a little screen share video, send it out to the team going, hey, if you're unfamiliar with Zoom, here's how to do it. Here's how it'll work for us. And we just started meeting, via that Zoom on Wednesdays at 11 o'clock every Wednesday. And I did realize we were going to have to be better at communicating. I was going to have to be better at communicating. So I started, creating a little more short video messages that I would put into our team's private Facebook group, just on things I was thinking about or messages that they needed to hear, and that sort of, just, it wasn't a lot of rah, but it was a lot of, sharing things and keeping them focused. And everybody kept doing their lead gen, by the way. Now all of a sudden we're at home, everybody's at home, and all of a sudden they're still doing their lead gen, Kevin. And they weren't having to come to the office. They weren't having to come to the office to do it where I was watching them. I wasn't, but you know what I mean? Like that, they kept doing it. And we kept just pushing forward. We ended March with the biggest sales month we've ever had as a team.
Wow.
That's what I said. I went, really? But in my head, I'm like, okay, but what's now? It's April now. Like, what's going to happen? And we just kept going. We did our one-on-one coachings in EXP World, which is our brokerage's virtual office. And so we just started using the tools we already had mostly, and we just kept going. We kept part pump up, part hey guys, we got to stay focused, and we just kept going. April, we almost broke March's record. Not quite, we missed it by a ton, but it was still a really good month. In May, we had the biggest sales month we had to point, except for on the last day of the month, we had a fall through that pushes back under it by that much. But we're still but every month I'm coming up against it going, will June be okay, right? And then will July, it's partly how I just think, like, we got to just keep going and going and going, keep pushing. But our team deserves all the credit. They responded, they listened, they kept going. They all had moments, I'm sure, where they went, oh, holy crap. We all did. I just didn't share mine, right? Like, I just kept thinking positively. By my nature, that kind of comes natural, but we all have our moments.
Yep.
But we just kept moving forward. And what I realized pretty quickly, and I think you alluded to it in that message you and I had, I don't know, a few days ago or whatever, I said, we just realized all of a sudden a physical footprint had nothing to do with our success.
Yeah.
We were working virtual, and we have been, that office that I still have, we still have our team office. It's the most expensive post office box I've ever owned. But we're today, like you said, this is August. We're still not working in there. It's there for an agent. They can go in. They're not allowed to not. I mean, they're allowed to go in individually if they want for a day of working there isolated or whatever. But there's never more than one person in there at a time. So we've just figured out we don't really need it.
So you said something to me too, that it was effective, and you just said it again. You just used different words. Like, basically you made a few adjustments.
Yep.
And you guys, you probably had some momentum given how good March was.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
so effectively having to go home didn't strain you. It actually made you better, because it forced you to get a little bit better at your systems, a little bit better at communication. And, so you've just continued to keep going at it.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there were very few things, honestly, as after we got over that first week of kind of a little shock, like, oh crap, we started realizing there's very few things that were holding us back if you will, or things we had to solve for. There were a few adjustments. Like for one, when we sell a house, you get an earnest money check. Well, now all of a sudden we're going, well, we're not in the office, and how do we get it to the, how does that all work? Well, we just went and found very quickly an app that you can use to deposit earnest money electronically. There are no checks anymore. Like we don't. And by the way, it made our business easier when we solved for that. It wasn't just, oh, we got to figure this out because this is a problem now. We solved it, and it got easier for us systems wise. And by the way, the consumers freaking love it.
Yeah.
Because they hate them checks too.
What do they say? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah. I mean, it's just made, everything smooth. Literally our business. And I said this the other day to someone, I don't think it was you, Kevin, but I said to someone, the one business result from this pandemic, and so I'm super clear, like the pandemic's been bad, right? Like a lot of people have suffered. I
Yes.
know people that have had COVID. Like I'm not talking about this in a health.
It's terrible.
Public,
no.
Yeah. For our business, this has been an amazing time for us to just validate what we've already built, tweak it enough to just go faster. I'm continually blown away as I think it through that way. And to be honest, I will say it started back in January when we made a shift in our brokerage relationship and went to a virtual company. We joined EXP. And so we were already very tech oriented as a team anyway. We already had systems built and all that stuff. And then we knew the right reasons to make that brokerage move. And it's funny, right after we got into pandemic mode, right? We're working remotely. One of my guys on the team, Jordan, said to me in a coaching session one day, so it was like 2 weeks after we had gone remote, he said to me, do you at least ever think about how brilliant that brokerage move was? And I kind of laughed because actually that morning I'd been thinking about it. And I said, dude, I have thought about that. And I'd love to say I was so smart. I knew we were going to.
I'd love to take credit for that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not, that was lucky, right? That was just lucky, but it made it so that we literally never missed a beat. Like our guys and gals were getting paid their commissions the day of close. Like there wasn't anything really that became a major problem. We fixed little things. We made those adjustments and it's made us better.
Dude, that's awesome.
A lot better.
That's so awesome. So here's the deal. Before we wrap, I have one more question for you. I have a thought to share. It's an observation I've just had during this conversation that I'm going to share with you. Before I do those two things, anything at all that you want to share or that I missed that we should have talked about, anything at all like that?
I don't think so. I think, I guess what I would share is I've known this for a while. Consumers can expect us, don't want us. They expect us to continue to up our game in the delivery of the home buying and home selling process, making it smoother, making it easier, making it faster, whatever words you want to use like that. And I think our industry has resisted the hell out of that for a long time. I know they have. And some still are, right? And no judgment. Like everybody gets to do business in the way they want. I don't even think like, we're better than, like, I don't think that way. I just know this whole last, I don't know, what has it been now? 5 months we're into this or something, whatever, has really caused me and our team to just really focus and double down on that. We're committed to doing that. We're committed to delivering in any way we can come up with a better experience for consumers. I think we were before this, and I think this put pressure on us to just like be better.
Yeah,
just be better. Yeah,
I love that. So here's my observation. I'm gonna share with you. I don't know that I've heard you. How long have you been in real estate? Did you say 20 years?
22. Yeah,
22. I don't know that I've ever heard of somebody who's been in real estate for even 10 or 15 years, much less 22 years, double their business. It typically happens. You see a lot of like major growth early on. I'm not saying it's never happened. I'm just saying like that's a conversation I've actually had with someone where they said, I want to talk to the person that has doubled their business 10 or 20 years in, not 5 years in or 4 years in or 7 years in. Because I think as people, we just get so set in our ways and the way we do things, especially like, someone like you who's had a lot of success in real estate. You're like, you've already got things that are working. So for you to be able to do something where it could literally double in a year, as opposed to say like incremental 5 and 10% year over year growth, which is, by the way, awesome. To double. So I just want to say hats off to you on that, because I think that speaks to your willingness to get better and learn, which I think is, awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate you would say that. And what I would just add on to that is it's only because we're powered by some amazing relationships in our real estate business, both the ones with our team. Like when you say who gets the credit for what we've done this year, like I said, it's not me. I'm not selling much. It's our people. 100% have stayed focused, like worked hard, kept going when like it's hard sometimes to do that. And the other part of the relationships is, being in business with someone like you and Fred, man, you guys are awesome business partners. And there's never a time when we're out here and we feel like we're alone trying to figure this stuff out. And that's really powerful. And you and Fred aren't the only ones. I mentioned you because you're on here, but I have a lot of friends that own their own brokerages or running big teams around the country. And when you can get into a relationship with those kind of people and ask questions and push and help each other, like that's the only way this is really possible. And so when I think about next year in 250, I know it's doable. I know we're going to have a hardcore run at it for sure because of the people on our team and the people we're in business with, right? Like I just have to not mess it up.
That's awesome. All right, man. And I'm going to put you on the spot here. You ready?
All right.
All right. Top 3 pieces of advice for kicking ass.
Top 3 pieces of advice for kicking ass. Wow,
So,
that's a really good question.
So someone comes to you, could be another agent, member on your team,
Yep.
someone you mentor, could
Yep.
just be a friend, doesn't even necessarily have to be business.
Yep.
Top 3 pieces of advice.
Top 3. So number 1, this is number 1, period, is mindset. Like you got to if your head isn't right, there's nothing else to talk about.
Yep.
Like, you go, well, what lead gen platform or what, like if your head's not right, there's nothing else to talk about. And so how do you do that? I do it I work on that. I believe I'm very positive. Like I have I think I'm mentally pretty tough. And I think everybody's at a different place with that. And if you're not, and you just go, I know I need more of that. You got to get around people that are. Like I have a couple buddies. One of them just messaged me. If you heard that little bling a minute ago, it's one of the buddies that like I think I'm kind of mentally tough. But he's DEFCON 10 besides that, right? So when you're around people like that, you're going to become more like that. So if you're not around the right people, it's going to be hard. You can, though, go find books. A book I read a long time ago that I still love is A Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. It's just a lot of positivity in there, and it's a lot of ways to structure a morning where it's hard not to show up. When you do those things in the morning, it's kind of hard not to show up in your life like just more energetic and positive. So mindset's number 1.
Okay.
You got to fix that if it's wrong. If you got that, then cool. Then it's about relationships. You got to go find people who are doing more, succeeding at a higher level than you. You got to go find people that scare you.
Yeah, I would agree.
I remember when I first met you and I met, I think the first time, I don't want to say I was scared of you, but like we were in a Facebook group, right? And you had posted something about, hey, I got a couple openings in my coaching schedule. I think that maybe we'd met before that, but I remember that moment. And I saw that, and there was some hesitation because I'm like, do I want to really coach with that guy? Right? Because you guys were way ahead of us in terms of production and what your business looked like. But I did it. I reached out because you were somebody that was, scary that way. Kevin's not a scary dude, right? But I mean, just in terms of, if you're hanging out with whatever career, whoever's watching this, if you're hanging out with people that are all just like you and you're all doing just the same, you can't go to that next level because those people frankly don't want you to. They'll feel threatened by that. They want you to stay with them. They want you to be like them. So I think you got to get a better group of people around you. That would be number 2. And number three is probably get into some kind of, this might be similar. So forgive me if this is a lame answer, but number three would be to get into some kind of a coaching accountability relationship.
Yeah.
Someone's pushing you, because like I'm pretty motivated. I'm driven by some stuff that I want to, that feed me to keep going every day. And I'm a super high D, right, on the disc profile. So, but I don't know, 8 or 10% of the population's high Ds. And I don't have a formal coach right at this moment. So if you said, well, who's your coach right this moment, Eric? I would say I don't have one I'm paying, but I've got a whole lot of people who would gladly, including that guy that just messaged me, beat me up if I'm not doing my stuff, right?
That's
So I
awesome.
think those would be my three.
Cool. Awesome. Eric Lowry, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us here on the Kevin and Fred Show today.
Thank you, man. I enjoyed it and I appreciate it. Appreciate you.
Awesome. And I appreciate you as well. Everyone, hope you enjoyed today's episode. One last thing, Eric, if someone wants to reach out to you, they want to know what it is you did to grow your business, or maybe just kind of learn. We didn't even get to dive into the internet lead stuff. Unfortunately, we just got so busy talking about some other things, but this guy's a wealth of information. So if anybody wants to reach out, what's the best way for people to find you, whether that's social media or what? Or
social is super easy. Facebook, I'm easy to find on Facebook. If you just search Eric Lowry, it's Lowry. A lot of times people want to put an E in there and you won't find me if you do that. But that's a super easy way. Send me a friend request. I'm on Facebook Messenger all the time. That was what that binging noise was a minute ago. Or you go to LowryTeam.com, which is our website. I'm super easy to contact through that as well.
Awesome. All right. We'll talk to you guys next time. Have a good one.
Thanks, Kevin.